Is keto safe for women? Because we have different hormones than men, and our bodies are made to have children. Surely we need to eat differently than men, right? The idea that women can't do keto, fast, or do carnivore implies somehow that being a woman impacts what you eat. And I'm pushing this off. Can that actually be true? Do you feed your female dog, cat, or guinea pig differently than you feed the male one? Because I've never heard a vet tell me that, or a breeder tell me that I have to feed the animals differently. On a standard diet, there isn't a separate menu at the restaurant for us. When you go to the grocery store, there aren't a different grocery aisle just for us. Why is it that as soon as we want to change our diet to be more healthy, all of a sudden, everyone is worried about how the food I'm eating, the healthier food I'm eating, is going to ruin my female hormones? Guess what, ladies? Keto does impact your hormones. And what I want to talk to you about today is what I learned from Dr. Elizabeth Bright so that you do not feel afraid anymore, that you're actually comfortable and confident to not only eat keto for your good health, but to even eat carnivore to heal your body and recognize the benefit it's going to do to your hormones. There are two events in our lives that are hugely impacted by our hormones: menstruation and menopause. In the book that I read from Dr. Bright, which is called Good Fat is Good for Women, I learned that fat is needed for both of these changes. But even more importantly, I learned that fat is needed throughout our lives. Both men and women, by the way, need fat to be healthy. Meaning, actually, carnivore would produce the best results, if I'm understanding that correctly. So then, why the panic about women doing keto and carnivore? Well, what Dr. Bright shows us very clearly is that there's a connection between birth control healing our painful cramps, hormone replacement therapy saving us from becoming unattractive, overheating messes, and pharmaceutical companies turning normal female hormone changes into medical problems. Yeah. Now, where have we heard that idea before? Oh, right. I spoke about it in this video on cholesterol, because Dr. Ekberg pointed out the same thing. With very clever marketing, women have been brainwashed into believing that the natural way our body functions is a disease that needs treating. Our desire to stay attractive and fit for our spouses is actually being used against us and tricking us into being overweight and on medication. So we want to be healthy and it's making us, okay, that doesn't make, here's how they're doing it. First, they taught us that fat will make us fat so that we avoid eating it. Men care less about their weight than we do, but they're still impacted by this because typically women are the ones cooking the meals. By not eating the healthy animal fat that we're supposed to be eating, we end up depriving our bodies of the fat that it needs to make our hormones. And then we suffer because we don't have the hormones that our body needs to keep us healthy. Another way that they've gotten us to harm ourselves is that women are seen as just horrible, disgusting people if they are deadbeat moms, right? We're worse than demons if we do that. So most of us spend our lives on birth control to make sure that we only have children when we decide to have children, without realizing that now what we've done is we've overpowered our natural hormone balance, right? We are taking in something that's keeping our hormones at a level which puts our other hormones out of balance. Now, by the way, Dr. Bright talks about how many of the hormone replacements, and by the way, I just want to point this out, hormone replacements, when we are taking birth control, we don't think of it as hormone replacement, but we are taking a hormone that's overpowering the rest of our hormones. So we're replacing what's supposed to be happening with this stuff that we're saying this is what we're doing instead. Okay. Dr. Bright pointed out that these hormone replacements that they were giving us were causing cancer. They knew about it. They kept feeding them to us. Problematic. But add to that, it's not healthy for our hormones to be at the exact same level for weeks on end. And I had learned that years ago from Dr. Halberg, Sarah Halberg. She did an interview with Dr. Finney, and they spoke about that. Our hormones are supposed to fluctuate. So I want you to think about it like this. It would be like we force the planet to be 20 degrees Celsius, that Fahrenheit, all the time because, well, it just feels comfortable for us, right? It's not going to rain so much. We keep that in control too. We keep it beautiful and consistent because that's what humans like. And although that would make our lives very happy, many ecosystems would collapse and species would disappear from the planet. Because why? Because the variation of nature needs to be respected. But when it comes to women's health, we're ignoring it. Our hormones are supposed to fluctuate. Now, we've been trained to overeat carbohydrates, which also disrupts our hormone balance by keeping insulin high. So now we have high female hormones, high insulin. Our hormones are not in balance. The more carbs we eat, the more insulin in our system, the more those hormones are out of, like, either too high or too low than what is optimal for our body to regulate our hormones. Why? Because our body regulates our hormones based on our hormones. One of the hardest things for us to accept is that when we oppose what the body wants, the consequences may not be easy to reverse. Raising insulin doesn't just make us fat, it creates damage and inflammation in the body. That damage is not easy to heal, right? We want it to be easy, but it isn't. So, again, I want to give you this analogy. If I took a piece of meat and I put it in a pot of water that's just gently too warm so that it's kind of cooking the outside, but very, 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 very extremely slowly, eventually the outer layer is going to cook, but the interior is still going to be raw. So theoretically, I could pull this out and just chop off the exterior. Now I have a raw piece of meat again and go and move on, right? Here's the problem. After years of overeating carbs, many of us have cooked our organs all the way through. Our thyroid no longer functions. We have non-alcoholic fatty liver. We have colitis or IBS. Or maybe our brain is suffering from some kind of dementia. We can't just go back to what it was before by stopping the bad behavior now. We actually need time to heal. And I will acknowledge that we can't blame everything on the food we're eating. I acknowledge that. Pollution is playing a role. And stress is playing a huge role in our hormones being unbalanced, because in our modern world, us ladies, we're out there making money right beside our husbands to ensure that our family lives this comfortable life, right? Yet somehow, we're still expected to bear most of the responsibility of taking care of those kids, right? And making sure the household runs well. And although this isn't openly stated, most of us can see that it's normal that the dad isn't the one at the PTA meeting, right? There's lots of examples of where we are expected to do it all. Stress raises cortisol, which again messes with our hormone balance, which again means that we're going to have damage in our body and inflammation that we have to deal with. I want to pause here and thank channel supporters for allowing me to purchase books so that I can bring you better information. If you'd like to become a channel supporter, there's a link in the description that gives you the option to do monthly or one-time contributions. And now let's get back to the video. Many doctors have spoken about the amazing weight loss benefits of keto, but it was Dr. Fung who zeroed in on the hormone aspect for me.
Our body runs on hormones. Those are instructions as to what to do, how much to pump blood, how much body heat to generate. Everything in our body is run on hormones, not calories. So ignoring the hormonal side of things is not a great idea.
Eating carbs is keeping our insulin high, messing with the balance, which means our body is actually not functioning properly because the instructions of what to do is being adjusted. Therefore, lowering carbs and getting your body into ketosis means that you're allowing your insulin to get back to baseline. This means that the instructions for how your body is supposed to function are going to be correct again. And what happens? Your weight adjusts, it regulates. Wellness warrior, I cannot say this enough. A healthy body regulates its weight. I'm going to keep saying it. I should say it in every single video. A healthy body regulates its weight. Food companies have you creating cravings and then fighting yourself against the cravings that you're creating for yourself because it keeps you in their ecosystem. They want to make money off of you. Now, in order to be healthy, you need to eat for health. Meat, fish, poultry, and eggs are a great source of healthy protein and fat, right? You eat the not lean version so you get that healthy fat to help your body to repair itself, to get the hormone balance back to what it's supposed to be. Carbs disrupt this because your body already makes all the carbohydrates that you need. You never need to eat a carbohydrate, wellness warrior. I want you to let your body do what it does best, right? Read those hormones and keep you healthy. That's what your body does best. Then, when your body is healthy, a nice side effect is that you heal your inflammation. This allows you to resume all your activities, right? Your life without pain means you actually get out there and do stuff. And of course, you're not carrying that water weight around with you, which you feel better, and therefore you do more because you're happier to be out living your life. It is frustrating how reclusive I used to be because I didn't like the way that I looked. And so keep in mind, I still did a lot because I had a little kid and I wanted her to have fun in her life, but I would have been doing more. And I do more now because I don't feel unhappy with how I look. Dropping that water weight helps you all around. And by the way, I'm going to point out right now that I'm acknowledging that the dramatic weight loss that you get at the beginning of a keto diet is water weight. I don't understand why people make it seem like that doesn't matter. That carrying around 20, 30 pounds of excess water on my body from inflammation that I don't need to have, why I shouldn't be proud that I lost that weight. But often I'll hear, oh, it's just water weight. Yeah, it was water weight. And now I'm not carrying it. And I look better. I'm not puffy. I look great. Be happy that the water is gone, wellness warrior. I was happy. That frustrates me. But another thing that's going to happen when you do keto is it's going to help you to have stable blood sugar, which means that you're not going to feel hungry all the time. So that up and down, when you're in a down of blood sugar, your body pushes you to go get more food because you need the energy because your blood sugar is low. That's because your body put the sugar you ate in fat storage, by the way, in case you're wondering, which contributes to you being overweight. So getting your blood sugar stable means you end up losing weight and getting to your goal weight. But I want to point out that that doesn't mean that keto is easy or carnivore is easy. It just means that it puts you on the right path. There are some challenges when it comes to keto. And if you treat keto or carnivore like restrictive diets, for example, you're going to be stressed. You're going to be stressed about what you're doing. You're going to be stressed about what you're eating. And that's going to raise your cortisol. Most of us live many, many, many years avoiding bacon, fried chicken, scrambled eggs, just to name a few of the delicious things that we were not allowed to eat. And guess what? You can eat them now as much as you want. The best way to not feel restricted on a carnivore or a keto diet is to eat healthy foods that you actually like. I found that the most liberating part of eating carnivore for me was not having to force myself to eat vegetables, which I never liked. And I don't do it anymore because I don't have to. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room, sugar addiction, those cravings that you get, right? After a few months on keto, your body will have adapted, but your mind will still be putting you to chase garbage, to want garbage, right? Again, another hard thing about switching over to a keto lifestyle long term, if you don't acknowledge that you were, or maybe still are, out of control when it comes to all the sugars, carbohydrates, sugars, two words for the same stuff, all the sugars that you've been eating, you're going to be stuck because you're going to believe that you can have a cupcake or a cookie, a slice of pizza. You can't, right? You can't. Eating that one thing that's off plan, out of your healthy way of eating, is going to pull you back in, and then it's going to be even harder for you to get back on track because all the junk food, cookies, chips, cereal, chocolate, all of the junk food is actually made from plants. So if you were one of those people, like me, I was one of those people, where you could do a diet and you would be doing pretty good for the first month maybe, but then you'd let yourself have something because I did so good for a month. And next thing you know, you're off plan for 2 months and you need to start over. And then even starting over is really hard because you don't want to start over because these foods taste good and those ones don't. And over and on, back and forth, fighting with yourself. The reason you're fighting with yourself is because you keep letting yourself have that cheat, whether it's meal or snack or whatever, because it's pulling you back in. And please, please, please do not be fooled by the idea that natural sugar doesn't count. It does. So if you eat an apple or a banana, some kiwi, I used to do that to try to feed my sweet tooth without eating something bad. You will feed your sweet tooth and be pulled right back into eating the garbage again. Those cravings are going to have you. The same way there's no safe amount of alcohol for someone with a problem to have, there's no safe amount of sweet for us to have. This isn't strictly about weight loss or what diet you're going to choose. Wanting to do the best for your body should be the goal. Companies they've tricked us into doing what tastes the best. And this is why we're so confused, right? And we don't realize that we're carb addicts. Whether you choose keto, carnivore, or low carb isn't the point. The true goal is to pay attention to how you progress, right? If you eat healthy fats and feel better, why would you resume eating garbage? Well, we do it because we're programmed to eat for fun instead of eating for health. Now, I'm going to answer those burning questions that you have, right? Because I know you want to know some things about keto. For example, can I do dirty keto? Because it's too hard to cook every day. The quality of the ingredients matter, Wellness Warrior. We didn't talk about seed oils, but I have a video, this one, I'm going to link it in the description as well. Those seed oils push insulin resistance. And more importantly, as I said a few minutes ago, eating what is best for your body should be the goal. So if I allow myself to eat dirty keto, that allows me to downplay the importance of the foods on my health. Companies thrive on that, right? They thrive on us believing that one cookie or one fast food meal isn't going to derail my diet because they secretly know that it will. That's why they always send us things like discount codes for our favorite junk food or even freebies in the mail. Because once you pop, you know how that sentence ends. They bank on us not realizing we're going to get pulled back in. They bank on us not realizing that those seed oils are ruining our health and pulling us back in. What major hormonal changes are typically happening around perimenopause and menopause? So estrogen and progesterone are decreasing during perimenopause. But what I learned from Dr. Bright is that they're decreasing throughout our lives. Many women in other cultures don't experience the symptoms that we do. And that's because they're not overloading their carbohydrates. Americanized cultures, so women who eat high sugar, low fat diets, are the ones who exhibit excessive symptoms like these. Dr. Bright exposes in her book that our sugary diets are responsible for our suffering. Can I do keto or carnivore if I have thyroid issues, no gallbladder, or some other medical condition? I am not a doctor. I'm going to start with that. But I will say that logic says that eating healthy should always be the thing that we do. So, if I'm sick, why would I eat a diet that's less healthy? Doesn't make any sense. Since we are learning that keto, carnivore, low carb, minimally are the healthiest diets we could do, then whether we're talking about choosing between keto and standard diet or carnivore, and standard diet, we should always be choosing the best possible diet. Given what I learned in this book, Good Fat is Good for Women, the choice to me seems to be clear. Can I start keto or carnivore over 40, 50, 80? Food is the basis of good health. We've been lied to for years and made to believe that aging makes us sick. We are learning from doctors like Ekberg and Bright that, in fact, the garbage we eat is responsible for our poor health. So, as long as you're breathing, you have the possibility to improve your health, wellness warrior, and enjoy your life, enjoy your body. That's what we're supposed to do. So there's no cutoff date to eating healthy. Start whenever you start. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you increased your fat consumption? Did you notice any improvements? Put it in the comments below. And let's add those egg emojis so that I know that you made it to the end of the video. In order to make hormones, we need cholesterol. So here's a video, this one, from Dr. Ekberg to reinforce that we have zero need to fear fat. It's also linked in the description so you can click on it after you left your comment. Can't wait to read it.